สวัสดีค่ะ very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight.
Well, good evening. We hope you have had a great week so far. And to kick off the program, we just start with something that you probably really want to know because everyone is being concerned by the new variant Omicron. And some countries have already, made travel bans, for example. And for Thailand, as we reported yesterday, this hasn't happened yet. And we only actually issued travel ban for only 8 African countries where they are deemed high risk of the variant. So Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha today did make clear that the government has no plan to close Thailand's borders again anytime soon to prevent the spread of the new variant, while he, however, dashed hopes that pubs, bars, and also other entertainment venues in Thailand can reopen before the set day of January 16th. So General Prayut said he sympathizes with everyone in the nightlife sector for the hardships they are enduring, but the concerns of other people and public safety has to be taken into account as well. So this date of January 16 is already considered a bit of a kind of postponement from the initial plan of, business operators urging the government to allow them to reopen this month already to be in time for the Christmas and New Year holidays. But of course, we now know that that is not going to happen, even though, last week, CCSA spokesperson did say that there was a bit of a possibility that they could have opened sooner, but that door has totally been shut because of the new variant now. And the Prime Minister said people will have to wait for a month and a half now. And he's still assuring people that he's in constant consultation with health authorities on the measures to be adopted to cope with the pandemic. Meanwhile, while these businesses are still shut, the Labor Ministry is also going to propose compensation packages for the impacted business owners and employees to the CCSA meeting for its deliberation tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see tomorrow what kind of measures are going to be issued next. So the Prime Minister maintained he cannot afford to allow these bars and pubs to resume business yet. But otherwise, what has been achieved so far will be meaningless, and the government will have to accept the blame. So that hope is now dashed. So no New Year party in such the places. But okay, there are some loopholes that a lot of people have found, right? Where if you classify your venues as restaurants, pub and restaurant, but there's a word restaurant in it, and actually you would be allowed to open and serve alcohol and hold those parties.
So it is a fine line between pubs and bars and a restaurant that has a bar inside. So
Yeah.
This is like a bit complicated, but well, speaking of the opening of pubs and bars, there is a reason why there is a possibility that the opening might be delayed because of the Omicron variant, which is a variant of concern classified by the WHO. And as you said earlier, Kudatai, many of the countries, including Thailand, has imposed travel restrictions from the 8 African countries already, and we don't even know yet whether other bans will be imposed for other countries that also found new cases of the Omicron variant as well.
Right.
And moving on to politics, the anti-establishment protest leader Rung Panusaya was freed from prison last night after courts granted her bail. So after 17 days in jail for her, Panusaya Rungsithi Jirawattanakul was released from the Central Women's Correctional Institute at about 8 p.m. on Wednesday night into the embrace of her parents and a warm reception from her supporters. The Bangkok South Criminal and Ayutthaya provincial courts granted temporary release on bail to Panusaya until January 12th on the grounds that she has to take an examination as a student and submit reports to her lecturers. The two courts actually set conditions with which she must strictly comply during her conditional release. So the conditions are she must refrain from joining protests which cause unrest, from activities deemed to affect the monarchy, and also from leaving home. And the only exception here is that she can leave home only to attend university, go to hospital, or to court. At the same time, although she is released on bail, she is still ordered to wear her ankle bracelet at all times. And the court also appointed Associate Professor Dr. Bullard Wiset Prisha as Panasaya's supervisor during her temporary release. The court's temporary bail follows a petition from Dr. Bullard, who told the court that Banasaya, who's a fifth-year student at Thammasat University, has to take an examination by January 12th, and she has to submit reports to her lecturers. Currently, Rung is on trial at Bangkok South Criminal Court on lèse-majesté charges for wearing a crop top at a Bangkok shopping mall on December 20th last year and at Ayutthaya Provincial Court in connection with a protest in the province on August 21st last year.
This is somewhat a small step as well, even though, of course, she has been charged with a lot of counts, basically. Even, for example, lèse-majesté 112, it's been actually so many counts. But it seems to be a tiny victory for her and her supporters in a way that at least she can come out and actually take exams.
Right.
That's very essential.
Exactly. It's very essential here for a fifth-year student, but we still need to find out about the other protesters who are still in jail for other charges as well. So we'll have to wait and see for that one as well.
Yeah, a lot of court cases against protest leaders to watch out for as well, especially all the lèse-majesté cases. And moving from politics to business. So earlier, before everyone knows by now, there's this potential merger between telecom giants True and DTAC. But for today, we have some other big story in business that is already confirmed. The Central Retail Corporation, which is Thailand's leading retail conglomerate, has announced the conclusion of a partnership deal with the Thai unit of Singapore headquartered ride-hailing application app, which is Grab. Now we all use Grab as is probably, well, the only main service provider for this kind of service. So that is a deal with Grab Taxi Holding Thailand. So Central has invested up to 4.5 billion baht to purchase more than 100 million shares, or about 67% share of Porter Worldwide Limited, which is a shareholder in Grab Taxi Holdings of Thailand. And it will enable the retailing giant to acquire a significant non-controlling stake in Grab's Thailand unit. So this landmark investment represents the first time an investor has bought into a local Grab unit and will help strengthen Central's businesses, which is, of course, many, covering restaurants, hotels, more than 30 malls in Thailand, and it also has operations in other markets in the region as well, including Vietnam and Indonesia. So describing Grab as a world-class startup in the ASEAN region, Central Group President Yon Pokasap said they decided to enter into a partnership with Grab because it realizes the potential of the ride-hailing entity, which has prospered rapidly in the past several years to become the leader in the Southeast Asian region. And he disclosed that the Central Retail Corporation has had business alliance with Grab actually way back since it opened its office in Thailand, until the latter expanded to cover food delivery, hotel bookings, logistics, financial service, and travel platforms. And speaking of more acquisition by this central group, British media, The Times, also reported today that the high-end department store chain in the UK called Selfridges is also set to be sold to the central group in about a £4 billion deal, or in Thai baht, it will be around 180 billion baht. And the deal was expected to be closed by the end of this year. So a lot of M&A, mergers, acquisitions in the business world. And actually, it seems like the Thai tycoons are doing really well. Today, we talk about the Central Group, but before that, with the True and DTAC deal, we see the emergence of CP dominating not just Thailand, but also the region as well. So something to really watch out for.
And before these two companies actually announced its merger, apart from True and DTAC and recently with Central and Grab, previously there has been a partnership between SCB and BitCup as well, which is a leading platform on cryptocurrencies. And speaking of cryptocurrencies, many shops right now are allowing payments using digital assets. However, although there are more shops allowing customers to do so, Thailand's central bank seems to be unconvinced about the use of digital currencies to purchase goods and services because of its volatility as well as security risks as well. So the Bank of Thailand's Assistant Governor for Payment Systems, Policy and Financial Technology, Siritida Panomwana Ayutthaya, revealed that the central bank does not support the use of digital currencies for making payments due to their high price volatility and the risk of cyber theft, personal data leakage, and money laundering, to which both customers and the businesses will become vulnerable. She also believes that such risks could affect payment systems and the financial stability as well as consumer protection if digital assets become widely used for payment. Regulators in some countries, such as in the UK, the EU, South Korea, and Malaysia, have recently restricted the use of digital assets primarily to the investment, while many other countries are considering appropriate oversight of such activities. However, the Bank of Thailand and the Securities and Exchange Commission are planning to issue guidelines in the light of the increasing use of digital assets in payments for goods and services. Meanwhile, as we just said, many shops in Thailand already allow customers to pay with cryptocurrencies, including Intanin Coffee, where 21 branches now accept such payments out of 750 branches of this coffee shop. One of the Thai PBS reporters talked to a 38-year-old customer who said that he has been interested in investing in digital assets, which he has been researching for the past 7 months. Normally, he would use digital assets only for investment, but he said that he can now use them for other payments, which provides him with an additional level of convenience. However, not many people are making payments with digital currencies yet, as some are still concerned about security, especially with hacking issues. So we can see that although cryptocurrencies is the trend and possibly will be more widely used in the future because it's deemed to be the future of finance and currencies, but people are still not convinced, not just central bank, when people are unsure about whether it's okay to use them, because we've been informed that cryptocurrencies are good for investment. But in terms of making payments, people are still not convinced. So it really depends on the amount of research and information onto the benefits of using cryptocurrencies as well as the downsides as well.
Right. But you have to know is actually no wonder why the central bank or any bank for that matter are doubtful about the use of cryptocurrency because it's not regulated. And normally banks, their jobs would also regulate transactions as well. So um, pros and cons, and there are certainly risks, but it is becoming a little bit more common, not too common yet, but is a bit more common. For example, on my wedding day, there was a bit of contribution in digital assets as well, a few. So you can really count. I mean, you totally know who where they come from, for example. But yeah, this is going to be the way for the future, and safety and all that will have to also be prioritized.
Right, but like speaking of cryptocurrencies, we've seen the interview of the Big Cup owner who once said that when he actually established Big Cup, it was very difficult because he had to explain with the regulators as well as a lot of financial institutions as to what is it all about, because many countries who at that time cryptocurrencies is a very new thing, and of course with finance banking, it's always a lot of complications as to safety, security, hacking, all these things. So
Mm.
before he reached this at this point, he went through a lot of obstacles to a point where he is now. So it
Wow.
is a long way to go, and still a long way from now to
Right.
a point where cryptocurrencies might be more common in the future.
Interesting indeed. Well, we leave you with that. So that wraps up our edition of Thai PBS World tonight. But do catch us like this every weekday at 7 p.m. for all the top stories and explainers and our commentaries. And also make sure you leave your comments in the comment section to let us know what you think, what you like more from this program.
And don't forget to follow us on social media as well as our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates as well as analyses. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ